"Put the gun down, Cora." That's what I said, loud, shaking, maybe a little desperate. But the answer wasn't words, it was a muzzle flash, and the crack that split the evening air. Clara screamed, hands flying to her shoulder as the bullet ripped straight through the cedar post and threw splinters across our porch. I swear, time froze right then. All you could hear was wind, the tang of gunpowder, and my wife's breath, stuttering in pain. But, you know what? Let me back up a second. Because the moment that set all this off wasn't the gunshot. It was Cora, president of the Silver Pines HOA, slamming a violation citation into my chest so hard it knocked the air right out of me. I hadn't even reached Clara yet. Cora's voice was sharp enough to draw blood. "You've been warned twice, Judge Mercer. That swing violates community symmetry. And now your wife's sitting on it again." She didn't ask, she declared, like my porch was her courtroom, and I was just another defendant. Cora Lindell, in all her glory, stood with her clipboard like it was a badge, lip trembling but voice steady. That look of someone who's absolutely certain she owns you. "You remove it by sunset, or I'll have maintenance take it down myself." The notice flapped once in my hand, and I remember looking her dead in the eye, quiet as I could. "That swing's anchored in concrete," I told her, "and it's not coming down without a permit." I watched something flicker in her expression, like she wasn't used to anyone pushing back, much less someone who actually knew the bylaws she liked to recite. If you think HOA drama is just about ugly lawn ornaments and mailboxes, you're living in a dream. Sometimes, it ends with real blood. And before you go, just hit subscribe, because by the end of this, you'll see how a single line in the law flipped this entire board upside down. "My name's Daniel Mercer," I said, steadying my breath. "Former sheriff, current state judge. And that swing you're threatening? I built it for my wife, who's 7 months pregnant and can't walk the lake path anymore." I saw her shoulders drop, just a notch. For a second, she looked almost human. But she recovered, sneering, tapping her pen like she wanted it to be a trigger. "Rules don't bend for sentiment, Judge. Your title means nothing here." She said it like the neighborhood was her kingdom. But I meant what I said. That swing, fresh cedar, steel bolts shining in the sun, wasn't just furniture. It was a promise. The first thing I'd built after Clara lost our baby 3 years ago, back when hope was something we had to fight for every day. She used to sway there at sunset and tell me the breeze felt like a second chance. Now, Clara stood behind me, hand over her belly, the other gripping the railing so she wouldn't fall. "I'm not moving, Daniel," she whispered. "She can threaten us all she wants. I won't hide again." I felt something in me go cold, hard, just watching her. Cora actually laughed, a dry, mean little sound. "Then maybe you'll learn consequences the hard way." She stepped forward, heel scraping the wood, perfume too sharp in my nose. My heart slowed, cop instincts kicking in. I saw the bulge under her jacket. Standard compact pistol, holstered wrong, barrel toward the ground. My mouth went dry. "You're shaking, Cora," I said low. "You don't want to do this." She hissed back, "Don't tell me what I want." The world shrank to the sound of cicadas. Clara edged back. The clipboard hit the porch. And then, metal scraping leather, flash, pop, ricochet. The smell of gunpowder. Clara stumbled. I was at her side in an instant, pressing my hand to the wound. Shallow graze, blood oozing, but not deep. Cora's face, my God. For the first time she looked like she realized she'd just fired a weapon, not a complaint. "You just discharged a firearm on private property," I said, flat, ice cold. "You're done." She mumbled about self-defense, but even she knew it was garbage. Blinds twitched all down the street, neighbors peeking out, some with phones, nobody coming to help. "You just turned a code violation into a crime," I said. She hesitated, then ran, heels cracking on the pavement, straight to her SUV. I held Clara, trying to keep my voice steady. "You're okay. You're okay." But I knew. The one who needed saving wasn't Clara. It was this whole rotten system. Sirens came quick, painting our perfect hedges with red and blue. By the time deputies arrived, Cora was gone. One recognized me, face gone pale. "Judge Mercer." I just nodded. "My wife's been grazed. She needs a doctor, not questions." They did their job, photos, angles, recovered the slug. Paramedics patched Clara up while neighbors hid behind their blinds. The silence from those people stung more than the bullet. At the hospital, nurse said we were lucky. Clara just squeezed my hand. Detective Reeves came, used to be my guy, back in the day. Dan, got to do this by the book. I'd expect nothing less. Cora already filed a report, he said, claimed she felt threatened. I almost laughed. She pulled a gun on a pregnant woman, and I'm the threat? He leaned in, voice low. Her husband's brother sits on the county council. Politics are about to twist this. You need to stay out of it, Dan. That word, clean, stung, as if silence was the same as justice. But he was right. I couldn't touch this in court. So I made a promise to myself. If I couldn't fight with a badge, I'd fight with the law. We got home to yellow tape on the porch and a new citation. Unsafe structure pending removal. Fresh ink. Clara shook her head. They're trying to erase what happened. No, I said. They're documenting their own crime. That afternoon, Marilyn Cutter, the treasurer, showed up with 2 board members and a fake smile clipboard. We're here to inspect for community liability, she said. You have exposure, I told her. Not liability, exposure. If your board member fires a gun, your insurance is on the hook, assuming you have any. I watched her blink, pen freezing midair, like she realized for the first time her shield wasn't as solid as she thought. After they left, I stood on the porch, hand on the groove the bullet carved in the rail. The law doesn't need anger, I thought. It needs patience and evidence. That night, I dug into the state registry, Silver Pines Estates HOA Incorporated. The corporate filing expired last year. No renewal, no insurance on file. That meant every citation, every fine, every rule they'd enforced was legally void. The next morning, laptop still open, I stepped outside and spotted Evan Price across the street. Retired deputy, good man, weighed down by too many years of doing nothing. Morning, Judge, he called. Morning, deputy. The words hung between us, heavier than you'd think. He looked at Clara's bloodstain on the porch, then said, You're building something. Verifying, I said. No insurance, no renewal. Everything they've done is void. His hands shook. Cora's been playing sheriff with no badge. Impersonating authority, I corrected. He winced, guilt written all over him. He finally whispered, They voted not to renew insurance last winter. Premiums too high. Figured no one would check. That was the threat I needed, someone from the inside, confirming it. Appreciate the neighborly chat, I said. He walked off, shoulders hunched like the truth was heavier than any punishment. By the next day, the HOA doubled down. New letter taped to the swing's chain, demanding immediate removal. Not Cora's signature this time, Marilyn's. I folded it into my pocket and went to the clubhouse. Marilyn, behind her desk, smiled like nothing was wrong. Judge Mercer, I was just about to contact you regarding your fines. You're still issuing those? I asked. Your authority expired months ago. Her pen froze. That's ridiculous. Then show me your renewal. She stalled, eyes darting, and I handed her a printout, state registry, status expired. Her confidence cracked, but she clung to her script. We'll fix the paperwork. Good luck explaining the illegal fines in the meantime. That's fraud. She tried to talk me down, neighbor to neighbor, but I leaned in close. A scene's what you get when you push a man who knows the law further than you understand. That night, rain came down hard. I called Reeves, not to ask for help, but to give notice. HOA's operating with no standing. You'll want that documented. You sure you want to light this match, Dan? He said. It's already burning. The next morning, I drove to the county building and got certified proof. HOA under administrative suspension. Not dissolved, just paralyzed. Couldn't fine, couldn't enforce, couldn't do a thing. On the way out, Evan found me. They're panicking, Dan. Called an emergency meeting. I smiled for the first time in days. Not dissolving, just putting them back under the law. Evan, torn, finally handed me the truth. They're laundering dues through Marilyn's husband's business. He handed me a flash drive, emails, ledgers, payments for work never done. With that, it all shifted. The audit was on, the DA involved, the truth in motion. Reeves showed up the next morning, a glint of approval in his eye. Audit division got an anonymous tip, he said. Your old deputy, maybe? He finally remembered what a conscience feels like. I replied. The case built itself, expired charter, missing insurance, financial misconduct, digital evidence. When I filed for the injunction, the clerk looked at me and said, You're filing against your own HOA? Not against. On behalf of everyone who still believes rules should serve justice, not replace it. The court granted the injunction. Board's power, suspended. The news spread fast. Residents opening blue county sealed envelopes, gathering in clusters by the gazebo, whispering, finally angry instead of afraid. Marilyn tried to spin it at the emergency meeting, but Evan stood up and spoke the truth. They used your dues to pay themselves, he said, voice shaking but honest. I signed some of it. I was wrong. Cora, sling on her arm, tried to bark over him, but I shut her down. You shot an unarmed woman, then hid behind fake authority. Maybe sit this one out. The room erupted. People realized, maybe for the first time, their fear had been optional. That night, for the first time in months, Silver Pines was quiet. No patrols. No threats in the mailbox. Just relief. They'll elect a new board, Clara said. Will anyone want the job? Someone will, I answered. But this time, they'll answer to the law. She smiled, just a little. You didn't just win a case, Daniel. You changed how people see this place. Maybe. But change only matters if it lasts. Evan came by that night, confession on his lips. County audit's on it now. Maryland's transfers match your evidence. They're building a criminal case. I nodded. Justice doesn't move fast, but it moves. Ever thought about running for the board? He joked. After this, I'm done with neighborhood politics, I said. Let them build something honest. When the headlines hit, local judge exposes corrupt HOA, inspires reform. I watched Clara's face glow in the phone light. You didn't just fix this place. You gave people permission to fight back. Maybe it was worth the noise, then. For the first time since the shot, peace finally returned. Real peace, not the fake kind enforced by threats. So, here's what I'll say to anyone living under someone else's thumb. Share your story. Let folks know where you're watching from. And never forget, the law doesn't stop at the gates of a gated community. The sound of the swing, gentle and steady in the night, was the sound of balance returning. I closed my eyes, finally able to breathe deep and let myself rest. Justice, like the lake outside, had gone still, but not silent.